College basketball comes your way this afternoon from Nassau in the Bahamas. We welcome you to the third place game of the Bahamas Championship as the Providence Friars take on the Georgia Bulldogs. An absolutely loaded field lived up to the hype in the semis on Friday. Miami pulled away down the stretch from Georgia. K-State outlasted Providence in overtime. Cats and Canes will meet in the title game after this one. It is great to have you with us. Welcome to Baha Mar Hoops with the All-American and National Champ Kyle Macy. Chris Sylvester on hand. Sam Hyman will join us shortly. It is not difficult at this gorgeous resort to hit the reset button. Both of these teams hoping to bounce back, and they think they can do it if they get a little more from their post presence.
You know, they say it's better in the Bahamas, and we're not going to have a better matchup than we have today in the post play with these two players, Josh Oduro from Providence and Russell Chiwe for the Georgia Bulldogs. 515 pounds of muscle between the two of them. You see the size at 6'9" and 7 foot. And both of them with that weight we talked about, but also doing a little bit of everything, scoring and double-doubles, 21 and 10. So just a great matchup today down the post. Let's take a look first at Russell Chiwe. His game is more in the low post. His really strength is rebounding the basketball, setting picks, rolling to the basket, and just using his body and 275 pounds to go get it. And when he does, try to put it back in the basket. He's not going to extend out on the floor too much, but when he does get it down in the low post with a pass from a teammate, he knows what to do with it. That's finished with two hands. On the other end, Josh Oduro, his game's a little bit more in the perimeter. He can step out. Now, he's also very capable at 245 pounds of posting up and using that body, but also has a real good touch from three-point range and is an excellent passer, and he's got soft hands. If he gets a pass to him, he's probably going to catch it, as he can set those high picks and roll the basket as well, and again, finish at the basket.
Baha Mar Hoops rolls along with the third place game in the Bahamas Championship. Providence and Georgia tip it off on the other side. Closing in on tip time, third place Bahamas Championship game. Stars on both sides hoping to turn in a better showing this afternoon. As we say, good afternoon to Sam Hyman.
That's right, Chris. The top two scorers on both teams. That's Providence's Bryce Hopkins and Georgia's Jabri Abdur-Rahim looking to turn it around today. They shot a combined 5 of 26 last game. I spoke to Bryce's dad, Clyde, and Clyde said Bryce is a student of the game. The two watch film after just about every game. As for Jabri, Coach White said he always thinks the next shot is going in. I'm not worried about Jabri whatsoever. Starting lineups, Chris, take it away.
Nicely done, Sam. And you'll notice a couple big pieces missing for Providence. No Jaden Pierre. He was limited to 4 minutes on Friday. And, of course, Garway Dual suspended for this one after the late game scrap up against K-State.
Yeah, Floyd steps in the lineup to the starting position, and Silas Demary has really been playing well for the Bulldogs.
So Providence trying to bounce back. K-State handed them their first loss of the season on Friday night. Georgia 2-2, already the Bulldogs' fourth game against a power conference opponent early in the season. Georgia controls the first possession. Mike Roberts, Don Daly, Darren George, your officials. Thomason from distance, and it swirls around the cylinder, falls down to Josh Oduro.
Georgia felt like they had a few too many empty possessions in that last time out, last game, and that was really the difference. And other than that, they had played pretty evenly with Miami.
Bulldogs not shy from the perimeter against the Hurricanes in the semis on Friday. They attempted 31 threes. Mid-post, Oduro. Across the lane, Floyd Jr. cuts, hangs, and finishes off the window.
Tough shot there, able to control it. Good defense, both players going just straight up vertically to not commit the foul.
Corey Floyd Jr. gets the starting assignment, gets the game's first bucket, and a soft touch on the other end for Russell Chiwe.
Half hook we talked about. Once he gets it that low, it's really hard to stop because he's so strong and has pretty good touch on that half hook.
Chiwe limited to 2 points in 17 minutes against 12th ranked Miami in this building on Friday. A graduate transfer from South Florida. Carter on the pick and pop. Oduro, and it crawls out. He will take the game's first free throws. Kim English, year one as the Providence head coach, just 35 years young. Second round pick of the Pistons out of Missouri. back in 2012, trying to lead the Friars to an SEC victory for the first time since November of 2018. Of course, the Providence Friars knocked out in the round of 64 last year by the Kentucky Wildcats.
And he's really trying to set the mindset for the Friars. In the press conference, he was asked about almost like a moral victory playing that close to Kansas State. And he didn't want to buy into that at all. He's like, no, we lost. We did some things down the stretch that caused us to play. So feeling like they can improve, but you got to like that mentality. No excuses.
Josh Oduro turned in a terrific career, 4 seasons at George Mason, the final 2 of those under Kim English. And he followed English to Providence to close out his highly decorated college career. 1-point lead early for the Friars. Silas Demery Jr. off the heel. And a second chance for Georgia. Bulldogs were out-rebounded by 3 against Miami in the semis, and Thomason finishes off the glass.
I think we saw there with Oduro, too. He was in some foul trouble last time out, so that time just kind of backed off on the drive. Didn't want to pick up that first foul early.
14 points for Thomason here on Friday. 5th-year senior from Houston, a graduate transfer from Niagara. Led the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference in scoring last year. Gaines picked up by Abdur-Rahim, lost the handle. Melendez tried to recover. Abdur-Rahim on a couple bounces ahead. Here comes Thomason, and he lays it in.
Transition basket for the Bulldogs. They didn't get many of those against Miami. Some of that, obviously, you got to give credit to the Hurricanes, but Bulldogs had a real spirited practice yesterday. Ball was moving, players moving, and I think that's what they're looking to do again today.
Georgia has a 3-point lead. And a foul on the inside. Thomason thought he had a tie-up.
Bulldogs do a good job diving for that loose ball. Rahim getting it ahead to Melendez, then on over to Thomason for the finish.
Well, for Mike White, his 2nd season as the Georgia head coach. Played in the SEC at Ole Miss. Had a terrific run as Florida's head coach. Took them to the Elite 8 back in 2017. Georgia, his 3rd Division I head coaching job. Got started at Louisiana Tech. Oduro, textbook.
He's a handful, no matter who's guarding him, because with his size, he can back you down as he did there and shows that soft touch. But if you don't come out on him on the floor, he's very capable of shooting the 3-point shot as well. Silas
Demery underneath the foul line. And it's poked away. Here comes Devin Carter, and he hammers it through.
Just a careless pass, a little bit too long, and Carter doing a good job jumping the lane.
Thomason races the other way, and a foul against Georgia. It's on the big man, Chiwa.
Friars like to get some transitions baskets as well, and Carter, that long length and excellent speed, gets ahead of the team. Two-handed finish. Just anticipating where that pass is going, knocking it ahead.
Buckets in transition, an early season strength for Providence under Kim English. Last 3 games, they've outscored their opponents on the fast break 28-1. Bryce Hopkins, it was quiet here on Friday, out to ticket games. And Thomason able to wrestle away the rebound from the big man Oduro. Justin Hill in off the Georgia bench, and that's deflected out by Hopkins.
Chiwa with that 2nd personal foul has to go to the bench now.
And the Friars in this game without 2 key backcourt pieces and hoping to keep their starting forward Josh Oduro out of foul trouble. Abdur-Rahim, a corner pocket triple.
It's a tough shot, too. He really couldn't buy one the other night, but it was good to see him knock one down here early, kind of get him going.
Yeah, missed his first 8 attempts from the field, did connect on his final 3. And that strong finish from Friday is carried over to a make on his first attempt in this game. An elbow jump shot, and that's money. Corey Floyd Jr. has 4 points.
A good move to the basket, under control, didn't get out of control and lose the ball or float on the shot. Got balance, went straight up, knocked it down.
Open mid-range, Hill misses. 9's on the board. Providence has opened 4 of 5 from the field. They have turned it over once, and they turned it over a second time. And that will take us to our first stoppage. Third place game, Bahamas Championship. 9s on the board. It's Providence and Georgia at Baha Mar Hoops.
Is sponsored by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Well, settling in here, third place game of the Baha Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship. Tied at 9 early. Georgia dealing with some early foul trouble. Russell Chiwa, we highlighted him at the Open. He's already picked up a couple of fouls here.
Yeah, the last foul on the other end was Josh Oduro, the other player we highlighted. So, you know, sometimes you just kind of outsmart yourself. Hopefully Josh won't get his second foul, and both players have to go to the bench early here in the second half. But very valuable to both these teams.
I'm sure you've heard of the video game cover curse. Maybe this will go down as the Kyle Macy players to watch curse. We'll see. Oduro will try and stay out there as long as he can, as Providence picks up another foul. This one's on Corey Floyd Jr. First career start today for Corey Floyd Jr. 29 games as a redshirt freshman last year, all of them off the bench. Came off the bench in the first 4 games this season. Abdur Rahim tried to throw it off of Gaines in between his wickets. Hopkins recovers. Carter, corner pop. Yes, sir.
That play was just Hopkins' strength on the loose ball. It looked like he'd lost it, but somehow managed to get it back with that strength. Saw his open teammate.
A triple for Devin Carter. 3-point lead for Providence. He's got 5 here in the opening half. Blue Kane is checked in off the Georgia bench. Puts that one high off the glass. Deloach couldn't put it back. And the officials are talking about a potential offensive goaltend.
I think it was Deloach who went for the follow, and after he missed, he kind of hung on the rim. Take a look at it. Kane with a good drive to the basket. Excellent help by the Friars. Try to shut him down, and here comes Deloach in. Just couldn't quite control the ball. And it wasn't so much the two-handed hang on the rim. It was when he then let go of one to reach for the ball and still hanging on with the left hand.
Kim English and that Providence bench on it immediately. Friars have hit 5 of their first 6 attempts from the field. Carter from distance again. This one wiggles out. Devin Carter has led Providence in scoring each of its last 2 games. Nice pocket pass. Hill couldn't finish at the rim. Justin Hill scoreless in 20 minutes off the bench against Miami. He's missed his first 2 attempts here. Oduro spins to his left. A savvy move. Had it deflected by Alexander Moncrief.
Moncrief came from the opposite side of the lane to get that block.
Shot clock into single digits. Oduro attacks again. Carter steps to his left, lets it go, and misses the high arcing triple, rebounded by Jalen Deloach.
Both teams doing a good job defensively, giving some help on the penetration, closing out hard on the shot.
Moncrief resets to Blue Kane. True freshman out of Knoxville. Walled off on the baseline by Corey Floyd Jr. Deflected. Hill, floater at the horn. It pops out, the putback won't go, and a rebound for Oduro. Here comes Carter charging down the lane and whistled for the offensive foul as he ran over Silas Demery Jr.
I was talking to the officials before the game about that, because the emphasis this year is on the block charge, and you got to have that foot down, or the defense has to be set before that lead foot is down by the offensive player. And it's a little bit backwards when you look for it. And in the discussion, he was saying, no, the closer to the offensive player is the defense, the more it's probably going to be a charge, whereas there's distance away, then it's probably going to be a block because they can't move. But now with the Euro step, it seems like there should hardly ever be a block charge.
Yeah, they tried to change that around a bit in the offseason in the NCAA. We thought we'd see more blocks than charges early in the year, but that hasn't necessarily been the case. Demery tripped, slipped, and whistled for traveling.
And that's the other one right there. Oduro does a good job of just holding his hands up. He's got that verticality where he's entitled to that plane and just keeps his, doesn't reach in and keeps his zone. Demery kind of lost his footing there and went down.
Third Georgia turnover. They had 15 against Miami here in the semis, and the Bulldogs, after a good start from the floor in this game, they've now gone scoreless more than 3.5 minutes.
Frank Anselm eBay is in the lineup at number 5 for the Bulldogs. Got some minutes the other night. Hadn't played a lot up until that game, but very active. Made a lot of things happen out on the floor.
Rich Barron seeing some early minutes with the depth issues that Providence is dealing with. No Garway Dual, no Jaden Pierre. Hopkins misses his first attempt. Opponents have shot just 25% from distance this season against Providence. Hill, step back, it's good.
They've gotten away with a little push off of that forearm, but no call. Again, got control of his body, went straight up for the shot.
First points in paradise for Justin Hill. Missed all 3 of his attempts against the Hurricanes. Corey Floyd Jr., wide right.
Yeah, not really a three-point threat. Only 1 for 11 on the season.
Silas Demery had it poked away. Ticket Games chasing after it. Demery recovers. Well, he couldn't. Almost did. Providence will have it on the other side. 1-point lead early for the Friars in the Bahamas Championship. Third place game. From the absolutely stunning Baha Mar Resort, best place to be in Nassau. Providence an early 1-point lead over Georgia as we check in on the keys.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at the how you handle the two-man game, but more importantly for Providence, I think next in line with 2 players out of the lineup, Pierre and Dual, somebody's got to step up. So that's that next man mentality, and also no sympathy. They lost a heartbreaker the other night to Kansas State in that semifinal game, but Georgia's not going to be feeling any sympathy for them. They're coming ready to play. Georgia, on the other hand, it's got to be a little bit more of a we than me mentality. Coach White thought that when things they got behind, everybody kind of started looking for themselves as opposed for looking for your teammate and doing it together and then keep learning. There's 8 transfers on this Georgia team. The starting 5 have all been whether a freshman or coming from another school. And so they're just kind of getting used to each other and learning how to play together.
Georgia had a top 20 recruiting class nationally in the offseason, second in the SEC behind only Kentucky. And the former Kentucky Wildcat, Bryce Hopkins, is fouled on the layup attempt. A couple free throws for him.
Real important for Josh Hopkins to develop even if a mid-range jump shot. So he's a threat on the outside to pull the defense to him, and then he can use that explosive first step to get to the basket that he's so good at. But the scouting report right now is they kind of expect the drive and almost challenge him to make a shot from the perimeter.
Hopkins posted a double-double Friday against Kansas State, 10 points, 10 rebounds, but just 2 of 15 from the field in that game, played 42 minutes, hoping to get back on track in this one. 2-point lead for the Friars. Noah Thomason crosses over. Abdur-Rahim picked up by Hopkins, takes him downhill, spins, dishes. Melendez at the horn, almost banked it in.
Excellent defense by the Friars. A little bit too much bouncing by the Bulldogs. Got to keep that ball moving.
Here's Rafael Castro, played well off the bench in the absence of Oduro. A run out for Melendez, and he hammers it down.
Let's see if that kind of gets Melendez going. He's been struggling a little bit, playing a little bit tight. Just hadn't gotten into the form and where he can relax and play his game.
It has been a struggle of late for R.J. Melendez, the transfer from Illinois. Prior to that dunk, just 2 of his last 13 from the field. Hopkins, watched by Melendez. Scoots into the paint, too high off the window and last touched by the Friars. Hopkins' shooting struggles continue here in Nassau.
Well, then you got to wonder, too, how much now is it getting in his head where he's starting to think about it too much instead of just going out there and playing. He's an outstanding player. He just got to forget about it, thinking about it, just go, the old Nike slogan, I guess, just do it.
First team All Big East last season. Led Providence at nearly 16 points per game, at 9 20-point games a year ago. Silas Demery. Abdur-Rahim along the end line on a step back. A foul will keep it on this end. It's on Rafael Castro, the redshirt sophomore.
Really impressed by both of these teams' effort on the defensive end of the floor. There's not a free look out there. Doing a good job of contesting shots. When the player goes to drive, there's always a help defender coming over, recovering back.
Luke Kane is back in for Georgia. He led them in scoring against Miami at 18 off the bench. He's missed his first 3 attempts here. Carter tried to flutter it in. Long rebound, ricochets to Hopkins. Second bite at the apple, more than halfway through the opening 20. Hopkins bullies his way. He's on the board from the field goal column.
And that's his game, just going strong, using that strength. He's an excellent defender as well.
Did have a point earlier at the foul line. Missed his first 3 from the floor. Melendez gets the bounce.
I think that's the Melendez that Coach Mike White expected when he came to Georgia.
R.J. Melendez, former top 100 recruit out of Central Point Christian Academy in Kissimmee, Florida. And the Friars force the over and back.
Floyd just bounced the ball on the midcourt line, kind of lost focus there. Here you see the drive by Bryce Hopkins. He's splitting the defense, using that strength, moving the ball to the left hand to keep it away from the defender, and able to finish off the glass.
That's the type of scorer he can be when the jump shots aren't falling. We saw how physical this Providence team was a couple nights ago against K-State.
Which everyone knows how physical K-State is. That was just a battle. Both teams going back and forth.
Thomason with a pretty move to get free, and he lays it in. A little razzle-dazzle for Noah Thomason. He's got 6 points here in the first half.
Yeah, he's a crafty scorer, and that's why he led Niagara in scoring when he was playing.
Oduro spins to his right and ties the game.
He's got a mismatch. Dilloch's just not big enough to hold him down low post.
Matthew Alexander Moncrief has it deflected and stolen. Another steal for Providence. Hopkins IDs the mismatch. Knocks over Thomason and puts it in off the glass.
Well, Thomason just trying to get a call there, kind of laid down, but a good no call.
Hopkins has connected on his last 2 attempts. Friars retake a 2-point lead.
Georgia's got to be careful. This is a stretch where they kind of look a little bit out of sync. You got to just keep playing together, keep the ball moving. You don't want to stay in one spot too long.
Thomason, a southpaw release, and he buries the go-ahead 3. A game-high 9 points for Noah Thomason. He hit 3 trays against the Hurricanes here on Friday. 1-point lead for Georgia. Mid-post, Oduro. Out to Corey Floyd Jr. He flashes, he lets it go. And it's hard off the heel. A fight for the rebound, out of bounds, last touched by the Friars. Noah Thomason, a game-high 9 points. Georgia's in front with 7:35 to play in the opening half.
Welcome back to the Bahamas. Georgia leads by 1 over Providence with 7:35 to go in the first half. And Noah Thomason leading the way for the Bulldogs. He's got 9 here in the early going. Kind of a streaky scorer. When he gets hot, watch out because he can catch fire. For more on Noah Thomason, let's go to the baseline. Sam Hyman.
That's right, Kyle Macy, Noah Thomason. What a journey it's been. I asked him what part of your game has grown the most from the beginning of college to now? This is his 4th school at the college level. He said, shot-making ability. Early on in my career, I would just drive to the basket. Now I see myself making a lot of elite shots. The coaching staff here at Georgia has told me that I needed to do that. I asked him, why Georgia for your final year in college? He said he was very familiar with Justin Hill on the team. They're from the same area, and Hill told Noah great things about this coaching staff.
From Houston Christian to Butler Community College, 2 seasons at Niagara, Noah Thomasson getting a chance at a high major in his final college season. At 14 points, knocked down 3 trays against Miami. A game-high 9 points right now, and with 7:19 left to play before the break. .14 to shoot for Georgia. And Justin Hill, also from Houston, as Sam mentioned, triggers in to his buddy Noah Thomasson. Thomasson knifing his way on a bounce. Melendez off the bottom of the backboard, and it ricochets out.
It got caught too far under the basket. Kind of a tough pass from Thomasson, that close and that far under the basket. Just couldn't get out the wrong side, the right side of the basket.
This game has already had 5 ties and 7 lead changes. Of course, it was just 2 nights ago. Providence had 10 ties and 10 lead changes in an overtime loss against Kansas State. Josh Oduro spins to his right. Hook shot off the side of the glass. Hopkins sticks it back in.
Pretty simple offense, but I like it because it gives Oduro the ball in his hands. He's a good decision maker, and then it puts Hopkins down in a rebounding position, where he's so strong. Led the team in rebounding last year.
It pops out for Blue Kane. He hit 4 threes off Georgia's bench against Miami. Now, nothing for 4 from the field in this game. Chance for the Friars to grow their lead. Hopkins has been at his best attacking the rim. Scoops it underneath, and Oduro's fouled on the way up.
Now Hopkins, recognizing the mismatch, being guarded by Hill, went right to the basket. When the help came, little scoop pass was very nice. Good look.
So Josh Oduro will take his 3rd and 4th free throw attempts of the opening 20. Big 6'9", 240-pound senior from Gainesville in Florida. CBS Sports recognizes Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor the culture, traditions, and achievements of the nation's original citizens. Oduro connects on both. And Russell Chiwa, with his 2 fouls, is back on the floor for Georgia. What does this tell you about how Mike White feels about the final 6:10 of the first half?
I think he recognizes the importance of it. I'd be interested to see if Oduro stays in the game. I might almost substitute for him just to make sure he doesn't pick up his 2nd foul. He's been in there a long time. Maybe give him a break, catch his breath.
14 of Providence 23 have come in the paint. And Georgia hoping Chiwa can keep the Friars out of the low post. Melendez in and out. The Bulldogs 2 of 6 from distance. Carter around the high screen. Rich Barron given space and buries the 3. His first career triple.
Got in the game the other day, wasn't very productive, so didn't get a lot of minutes, but being shorthanded, the Friars got to go to the bench more than they normally do.
7 straight for Providence, largest lead for either side. Thomasson quiets the Friar faithful.
That's a tough shot because Carter was right there with a hand almost on the ball, almost got a block. Thomasson still able to get it to go down.
An electric score, 19.5 points per game at Niagara last season. He's got 12 in the first half. Hopkins ISO with Melendez.
Yeah, go right at him. He's got the fouls. Trying to draw the 3rd.
Oduro with some patience and a finish.
And Chiwa knows that he's got those fouls, so he doesn't want to try to overcommit. He's just trying to hold his ground.
9 first-half points for Oduro. 5-point lead for Providence. Silas Demery Jr. cashes in on the free throw line jump shot.
Demery's been playing very well for the Bulldogs here in the early going. Averaging almost 10 points a game.
A timeout for Providence, just shy of the 4-minute mark here in the opening half. 3-point lead for the Friars. Josh Oduro with 9 first-half points.
Yeah, just back to the basket, showing the strength. A little step through when Chewa kind of overextended.
Now Providence, a robust 52% from the field. They have heated up down the stretch of this opening half. 6 of their last 8 attempts have gone in, and they've got a 3-point lead. Coming up next, catch a sit down with Seth Davis and San Diego State men's hoops coach Brian Dutcher as they talk the school's first ever Final Four berth on Home Court right here on CBS Sports Network. .4:15 left before the half. Your impressions of what we've seen so far?
I thought it was a little ragged early, but I think that's some of the residual from the last games, and both teams had some tough losses. But working on things they've been working on up to this point in the year, trying to play at a faster pace, open up the floor, knock down some threes, penetrate and kick. So for overall, I think it's been pretty good. Obviously very competitive, only a 3-point difference for Providence.
The Friars without Jaden Pierre, their starting point guard. Went down with an injury after just 4 minutes against K-State here a couple nights ago, and also without their freshman Garway Dual, suspended for this game after a late game scrap against K-State and Day-Day Ames in overtime. Blue Cane rejected by Castro.
Castro in for Oduro, making sure he doesn't pick up that second foul.
Castro couldn't field it cleanly on a bounce from Rich Barron. It's a Providence turnover. Thomason has been so smooth in this first half. Misses that jump shot. Abdur-Rahim soars in, grabs the second chance, and he's fouled by Bryce Hopkins.
Abdur-Rahim and Hopkins going for that board, and Hopkins just got tangled up in the arm. I think if I'm Georgia, I'm going to try to give Chewa a chance in the low post. Post him up, let him see what he can do with that little half hook he has. Because he's got a definite size advantage now as far as strength and weight against Castro.
The first foul on Hopkins. Another takeaway. Carter racing to the cup, and he lays it in.
Carter is so quick on the defensive end. Just shot the gap again. Thomason couldn't do anything with him. He could just trying to catch up to him.
Noah Thomason adds 2 to his first half total.
He's real slippery when he goes to the basket. You think you're in front of him, next thing you know, he gets that little step through, lays it in.
14 for Thomason, matching his game total from 2 nights ago against Miami. Hopkins trying to bully his way in. Thomason the steal. Shovels it back. Abdur-Rahim for the tie. Puts it in.
Georgia on a little stretch here. You got to keep it going now. Defensively, just get a stop. Every time down, get a good shot. The other night when they were playing now during the stretch when they got behind, that's when they kind of had some empty possessions, started playing a little bit too much for themselves. But today, much better playing together.
Ticket Gaines lets it go. Missed off the heel. Offensive rebound, and Castro thunders it through. Rafael Castro gives Providence a 2-point lead. First points for the 6'11" big man. Abdur-Rahim misfires from the mid-range. Chewa on the offensive glass. Silas Demery Jr. up along the baseline. Hopkins was there to alter the shot, and it ricochets out. Last touched by Providence. Georgia will get a second bite at the apple.
Demery did a good job of coming back on that rebound by Hopkins, knocking it off his foot out of bounds. Mike White takes timeout with a $1:46 left on the opening half clock.
This has been a good one here in the third place game of the Bahamas Championship. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Brent Stover is standing by in our New York studio. He'll get you up to speed on all the day's college basketball action. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. A teeter-totter opening half here. Third place game of the Bahamas Championship will bring you the title for all the Baha Mar Bahamas marbles as 12th ranked Miami battles Kansas State next. 6 ties, 8 lead changes, and we may have a few more in the final 146 of this opening period.
Noah Thomason leading the way for the Bulldogs with 14 points, 6 of 9 shooting from the field.
Chris Sylvester, Kyle Macy, Sam Hyman, our entire crew. Third annual Bahamas Championship here at Baha Mar Hoops. This tournament just gets better and better every year. Inbound to Thomason, he cuts. Demery flashes. Watched by Ticket Games. Shot clock into single digits. Demery, crossover, works downhill, and that is an offensive foul.
It's a good drive by Demery. Just went one step too far and lowered that shoulder. And anytime you see that shoulder go down, they're going to call that. But a good crossover move to get in the lane. And that left shoulder got gained sliding across the baseline.
Looked a little like the Georgia Bulldogs at Rocky Top yesterday.
Yeah.
Wrapped up the SEC season undefeated. Plenty of Bulldog fans were in the sports book here at Baha Mar Resort watching Georgia win another game. A steal for R.J. Melendez. Numbers for the Bulldogs. That was deflected and recovered. Jalen Deloach on the board. His first bucket.
I'd like to have seen Melendez give that up and then get it back. Let the guard handle the ball. They had the numbers 3-on-1. But it worked out.
Another tie. 32's on the board as we dwindle inside of a minute. Carter spins on Thomason. Hopkins down the end line, up and under, missed it. Georgia has a 5-on-3. Melendez off the fake, and he's fouled by Ticket Games. So R.J. Melendez, see the first couple go in, and all of a sudden he's playing with a lot more confidence.
A lot more fire. I like it. You know, I'm almost like a racehorse when they see that stretch coming down the home stretch. Those ears go back and they just get on a roll. And that's what Melendez is doing today.
You're a Kentucky guy. I like the reference. So R.J. Melendez will have a chance to put Georgia back in front. Mike White. Year 2 has traditionally brought big things. Louisiana Tech year 2, they won 27 games, went to the second round of the NIT. Year 2 at Florida, and they went to the Elite 8. 16-16 season for Mike White at Georgia last year, hoping to be that much better this time around. Had a 10-win improvement from Tom Crean's final season. 9 seconds separate the big clock and the small clock. Can Providence pull even or go back in front? Oduro across the floor. Carter catches. Corey Floyd Jr. from straight away, and it's off the back rim. Batted out and recovered by Melendez. Shot clock dark. Thomason controls. He's got a game high 14. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Thomason at the buzzer, rejected by Carter. Oh, he ripped it away in midair. Devin Carter, a two-way star for the Providence Friars, but it's the Georgia Bulldogs up 34-32 going into the half.
Well, it's been a fight both ways. Excellent defense. Carter with those long arms blocks it. Keep Georgia only at 2-point advantage here at halftime.
7 ties, 9 lead changes. Bulldogs by 2 at the break. After we step aside, it's AT&T at the half. You're watching college basketball on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Georgia 34-32 over Providence as we get ready for the start of the second half. Tightly contested opening 20, 9 lead changes, 7 ties. Your impressions of the opening 20?
I liked a very competitive first half. Both teams had a chance to kind of extend, but the opponents did a good job defensively, not letting them go on a long run. And Georgia just happened to be leading there at the end of the first half.
Let's take a look at the highlights from the opening half. Mike White's team looking for a second high major victory of the season. They beat Wake Forest a couple weeks ago. Josh Oduro, a much better first half than the foul trouble-filled game he had against K-State.
Yeah, stayed out of foul trouble and able to use his strength down the low post. And when he's on the floor, he just can do so many different things. Noah Thomason also got his game going. Started out with a few drives, but then that led to some excellent outside shots. And he leads the way for the Bulldogs with 14 here in the first half. So a good competitive first half.
Both teams have taken advantage of each other's turnovers. Georgia +1 in the points off turnover category. Providence +4 in the paint. Thomason, a game-high 14 points. He was efficient, 6 of 10 from the field.
Yeah, and Chiwa in foul trouble. Didn't play a whole lot of minutes that first half, so they'll be glad to get him back out on the court in the paint the second half.
Keep an eye on rebounds. Georgia has not out-rebounded an opponent this season. They trail by 2 in the rebounding category at the half, but they lead by 2 on the scoreboard.
You know, one reason I think is they've got to get Abdur-Rahim not just to take outside shots. They got to get him going to the basket, and they've got to get him to rebound on the defense and in the floor. He's got good size, height-wise, but physically he's not that strong weight-wise. I don't know, maybe he doesn't like the contact, but that's got to be an area he's got to improve if he wants to play at the next level.
Jabri Abdur-Rahim, the son of the 2002 NBA All-Star Sharif Abdur-Rahim, who's now the president of the NBA G League. We had him on the air with Sam Hyman when Georgia squared off against 12th ranked Miami in the opening round. So here is Providence with the first possession of the second half. 48% from the field in the opening 20 for the Friars.
Providence does a real good job of keeping the ball moving, keeping the players moving, but that's probably not the shot you're working for. Shot clock was down to 2, though.
Yeah, late in the clock, Carter had to let it go. Here comes Thomason, left the floater short. Hopkins explodes and powers it through.
Transition basket. Georgia didn't match up well in the transition. Bryce Hopkins, recognizing he had a path, didn't lay it in off the backboard, took it all the way and finished.
9 points all of the sudden for Hopkins. Melendez backpedals out.
Ooh, Carter about got another one there.
Oh, and Chiwa would have had an easy lane to the orange iron and turns it over.
Hopkins in transition. Carter throws it ahead to the corner. He sees the open path and just is going to go strong. If he had to, he was going to maybe take Thomason with him and dunk that one.
A lot of bounce in Bryce Hopkins' game. The former Kentucky Wildcat in his second season with the Friars. First team All Big East last year. Oduro spins quickly. Pitches on a bounce to the corner. Carter cuts. Corey Floyd Jr. floats high off the glass and in.
Excellent shot fake. Got the defensive lift and allowed him to go to the basket.
Chiwa racing back the other way. Ticket Gaines thought he got all ball, but got some body as well. And the 7-footer will stroke a couple free throws. Let's check in with Sam Hyman.
Chris spoke to Coach White and Coach English at halftime just a moment ago, and I asked Coach White, what do you need to see from your team in the second half to win? He said, maintain intensity. Loved our defensive effort, just need to find flow on offense. It's been a slugfest, and I also want to see RJ Melendez shoot the ball a little bit better. As for Coach English, I asked Kim, how do you slow down Noah Thomason? And Kim said he's doing some great things out there. We've got to change some things up on the pick and roll defensively this half. And I told our guys, Kim said, keep our mindset in the right headspace. We're playing without 2 of our point guards right now, so the offense is flowing a bit differently.
Nicely done, Sam. Couple makes at the free throw line for the 7-footer Russell Chiwa, 5th-year senior from Cameroon. And we are tied again. Oduro, he's capable. He buries the 3.
Yeah, Chiwa slow coming out. And, you know, a 7-foot, 275 pounds doesn't want to come out to the three-point line. So Oduro, that shot will be there most of the day.
Double figures for Oduro. Quick trigger. Thomason misses. And Corey Floyd Jr. recovers. Carter spins. sets up Hopkins, and he thunders it down. A couple second half flushes for Bryce Hopkins into double figures with 11. And Providence takes a 5-point lead. A reach-in foul on Corey Floyd Jr.
Again, Georgia just trying to get a feel how guys play in certain situations. Michael White may have wanted to take a timeout there, going down 5 here in the early going, but instead just said, take our time, let's run a set and see what we do. I like Chiwa coming out on the floor to set those high picks, but then I'd like to see him roll down to the low post, because if he's out on the high on the floor, it's just clogging up drives for his teammates.
Georgia hoping Blue Kane can heat up. He's back in off the bench. Hill with a tough take, couldn't finish. First career start, Corey Floyd Jr. has played very well for Providence. Right on cue. Rebounded by Chiwa.
Gained probably a little bit more penetration than taking the outside shot. But it was open. I mean, you got to shoot those.
Georgia led by 2 at the break. Providence has delivered the first punch of the second half.
Had the lob that time to Chiwa. The 7-footer doesn't want to get a ball down by his ankles. Throw it up to the rim, let him get it.
Rafael Castro checks back in for Providence, giving Josh Oduro a breather, and he's dapped up by Kim English on his way back to the Providence bench.
I think he's the real key to this team because he can do so many different things. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive offensively and not just defer to his teammates.
Hill stops and starts. Oh, he's slippery. Count it, and the foul.
That fake not only got one guy in the air, it had 2 Friars going for the fake, left their feet, had the easy finish.
Justin Hill conspicuously quiet against Miami, scoreless in 20 minutes. A little shake, a little bake. Second season at Georgia for Hill after 3 seasons in the Big South at Longwood. Sam has more on the 5th-year senior.
Spoke to Justin Hill's mom, Donna, who was a 1998 ACC Player of the Year at Virginia, and I asked Donna, what's one of your favorite memories from Justin as a little kid and his love for the game? Follow this. Preseason in high school, Justin's dad was a volunteer coach. One game his dad wanted to get everyone in the game, so Justin started and then came out early. It was taking a while for Justin to get back in, so Justin pulls out his phone on the bench and texts his mom and says, can you please tell Dad to put me back in the game? Justin and his mom, Donna, made eye contact, and Justin got back in the game. It was an early sign of Justin's toughness and love for the game of basketball.
That wasn't around when I was playing. Cell phones and text people.
What'd you do, send smoke signals from the bench? Hopkins, he's played very aggressive since his slow start. A little too aggressive that time as he's whistled for a double dribble. 10th Providence turnover. Georgia can tie or retake the lead on this possession. High post, Chiwa. Abdur Rahim around the screen. And the foul on the floor against Ticket Gaines. You had to hold your breath there for a moment as Chiwa went to set the screen, and then the whistle came. Couldn't help but feel like that might have been a moving screen, but instead the foul went the other way.
Yeah, no, he did a pretty good job of just holding his ground. In fact, a little hesitant to roll to the basket because he did want to pick up that foul.
Short rest for Oduro on his way back in. Providence will go really big here with Castro and Oduro sharing the floor. They did not share the floor in the first half and did not share the floor at any point against Kansas State on Friday. South of 16 minutes in the second half. Abdur Rahim for the lead. Carter coast to coast, he lays it in.
He's exceptionally fast in transition. Has a long steps for that step through there, long arms. Hard to guard.
Devin Carter up to 9 points. Hill working on the true freshman Barron. Tosses to the corner, Blue Kane. And a long rebound out to Devin Carter. He's got his eyes on the rim again and scores.
He's just hard to stay in front because he's so swift.
4 straight for Devin Carter. Timeout, Georgia. Providence has opened up a 6-point lead.
Devin Carter leading the way for the Friars in transition. Little crossover move, taking Kane to the basket, the reverse, and then in transition goes the other way and finishes off the glass. Providence leads by 6.
Providence trailed by 2 at the break. Strong start to the second half for the Friars. They lead by 6. Tough shooting night for Bryce Hopkins Friday. 2 of 15 from the field against Kansas State, but he has bounced back this afternoon.
He has. A lot of it is just letting the game come to him this afternoon. Maybe trying to force a little bit too much in that Kansas State game, but here he does make some strong moves when he has mismatches, but the second half has really gotten going by running the floor, and when he gets the pass, then attacking the basket. Carter twice giving him real good looks, leads to two-handed slams.
Almost as if he was fed up after missing his first 3 shots from the field in this game. 3 Friars now in double figures. Devin Carter scoring 4 straight to trigger the Mike White timeout.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be a key, obviously, with Pierre not being in the lineup, because now you put him in there. He's also capable of being a double-figure scorer, and that's why everyone thinks this is Providence team is going to have an outstanding season.
Friars preseason pick to finish 7th out of 11 teams in the Big East, but the Big East expected to be absolutely loaded this year. Marquette is the preseason favorite. Creighton is second. The defending national champ UConn, preseason pick to finish 3rd. That's how good the Big East is supposed to be this season. Hill, nice fake, takes it to the cup. He missed it, and DeLoach puts it home.
I think Oduro may have got a piece of that from behind on the Hill drive. But DeLoach right there fouling like he should have.
4 points for Jalen DeLoach, fouled out in just 10 minutes against the 12th ranked Hurricanes in the Bahamas Championship semis. 4-point lead for the Friars. Carter from distance.
Not a big fan of that shot.
Melendez off his sneaker. Timeout on the floor. We will take it with them. 14-22 left to play in the Bahamas consolation game. 73-68.
Only fitting, since we're here in the Bahamas, that we talked about Coach Drew took over for Marley at Grand Canyon.
A steal for Georgia out of the timeout.
Get it, Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Different Marley, though.
Matthew Alexander Moncrief, a little out of control. Rebounded by Oduro. Hopkins. Out to Devin Carter. Oduro backing down DeLoach. Whips it out. Carter, a high arcing 3. And a foul underneath. It's on Ticket Games.
I think Carter sometimes just relies a little bit too much on that three-point shot. He's so fast and so long. He's hard to guard on the drive. And you can get those long threes anytime late in the shot clock. So why shoot them when there's still 20-some seconds left to go?
4th foul on Ticket Games. Now, Georgia has a former head coach in the building. He's sitting on the Providence bench. Sam Hyman has more on Dennis Felton.
An earlier huddle in the second half, assistant coach Dennis Felton, typically the first guy to talk to the team before Kim English comes over. And in that huddle, Dennis said, show your hands and get down in a stance defensively. And right now, Georgia's shooting just 37% from the floor. Dennis was the head coach at Georgia from 2003 to 2009, and his 08 team won 4 games in 3 days in the SEC tournament. So now he's on the other side right now, going up against the Bulldogs.
Just to touch on that, too, that was the tournament in Atlanta where they had the tornado came through and had to move the finals to the Georgia Tech Gymnasium. happened to be there, and it said only family could come into the game. There were still 3,000 fans. Kentucky got beat by Georgia in the final.
A lot of big families in the South. Hopkins in transition. Gets tied up with Deloach. A terrific effort. Jalen Deloach secures the tie-up. And the possession arrow points the way of the Bulldogs.
Did a good job running back, getting in front of the offensive player. Pretty good call. I mean, it looked like it was all ball.
A lot of muscle from both of those guys, and Deloach gets the ball back for Georgia. Thomason, 14 points in the first half. Down the lane and fouled.
And by attacking the rim, that puts that pressure on the defense. Thomason, you know, made some threes, which really helps his offense because they've got to be aware of that. They extend out, and it gives him a step maybe going towards the basket.
Already the 6th foul against Providence this half. Dealing with those depth issues. Gaines is on the bench with 4 fouls. Corey Floyd Jr. has 3. That was the second on Carter.
And Thomason knows how to score. Led Niagara in scoring. There's 2 years there. What's the nickname for the Niagara school?
Don't quiz me on that.
I've gone blank on that. I know it's not the Falls.
I was going to say it's maybe the Waterfalls. 10th time these two teams have been tied. The Niagara Purple Eagles. I know that was your next guess. Late whistle and a foul on Justin Hill. Thought he had a rip away from Corey Floyd Jr. And a sarcastic cheer from the Friar faithful here in Nassau. The second against Georgia in this half.
Yeah, I think the Friar fans felt like there should have been a lot of more fouls called in that semifinal game. It was just a battle back and forth between Kansas State and Providence.
This one's been back and forth too. Floyd bounces. Oduro gets whacked by Deloach. Boy, the Providence fans have clearly kept an eye on the ticker here. 6 fouls on the Friars, now 3 on Georgia. And Oduro will take 2 free throws.
Some of that, though, too, is if you rely on the outside shot, you're not going to draw those fouls. So you've got to be aggressive, keep going to the basket.
Providence 3 of 16 from distance in this game. They were 4 for 10 from the three-point line in the first half a couple of nights ago against Kansas State, but went just 1 for 12 to close the game. Silas Demery Jr. back in the game for Georgia. A bounce back for Oduro. He fouled out late in regulation in the semis. 14 points, 8 rebounds. And he gives the Friars a 2-point lead.
Yeah, never really got going in that game. Just couldn't get into rhythm.
Thomason, nice crossover off the front rim.
He almost got too close to the rim. He looked like he was under the basket, couldn't get the ball out to finish.
Carter wraparound pass. Corey Floyd Jr. around the Oduro screen. Feeds Hopkins. And another foul against the Bulldogs. This one's on Matthew Alexander Moncrief. 4th against the Bulldogs this half. 47-45. Providence back in front. Oh, the white sand on the beach here in Nassau, right in front of the beautiful Baha Mar Resort. Here at the 3rd place game of the Bahamas Championship, Providence by 2 over Georgia. A look at the notable non-conference games for the Friars. Already upended Milwaukee and Wisconsin. They have taken the Cheese State to the woodshed early in the season. Big 12, Big East battle. They will head to Oklahoma December 5th to take on Porter Moser And the Sooners, of course, these are a couple of big games for Providence. They fell in overtime to Kansas State on Friday, trying to bounce back and pick up their first regular season win over an SEC team since November of 2018.
Well, just the experience of playing against good competition this early in a setting like this, good crowds, it's valuable for this team as they go down the road.
Friar basketball out of the timeout. Russell Chiwa watches Josh Oduro. Demery comes to help. It leaves Carter open, and he buries the three.
Now see the difference in that one. They went inside, the defense collapsed, and it gave Carter a little bit more time to get set and not right away take that first three. I like that play, inside out.
Second tray for Carter. The lead balloons to 5. Thomason leans in, didn't put enough on it. And last touched by Georgia.
Take a look at that last play for Providence. You see the isolation down the low post. Carter does a good job moving to a passing position, and the defense didn't quite get there, but it gave Carter that extra split second to get that shot where he's comfortable, has his feet underneath him, and in line to the basket.
The fourth Friar make from the outside in this game. Carter around the Oduro screen. 5 to shoot. Corey Floyd Jr. pitches it out. Carter flashes. Carter lets it go. Long rebound chased down by Hopkins. A second chance here for the Friars. Rich Barron from distance. 2 misses from the perimeter. Melendez with a pretty move, and he lays it in.
A little fake behind the back pass there and then put it in off the glass. I want to correct something. They talked about the horse's ears going back. Actually, when you get their attention, they come up, and that's kind of what we saw, the energy and the attention that Melendez played with in that first half. That was a good move, though, in the break.
Bulldogs trim the lead back to 3. Barron, teardrop. Matthew Alexander Moncrief clears it away. Matthew Alexander Moncrief all the way to the other end and deflected out by Oduro.
They got away with an extra step there. Looked a little bit awkward.
Barron to the bench. Castro back in there for Kim English. Moncrief exits for Jabri Abdur-Rahim. Georgia would like to get him going. Just 6 points on 2 of 5 shooting. He's their leading scorer. Bulldogs 4 of 12 from the perimeter in this game.
This is a stretch where Georgia needs to continue to play together. Work to get your teammate a good shot. Keep the ball moving. Keep cutting.
Melendez bounces it. Abdur-Rahim, book it.
Yeah, and that's similar to what we saw on the other end because the defense has gone to one side. They skip past across the court. It's hard to recover that far.
Third tray for Jabri Abdur-Rahim. 50's on the board. Carter makes the extra pass. Corey Floyd Jr. walled off along the baseline. Oduro lets it fly. Yes, sir!
It's a real good play. Not a pick and roll, but a pick and step back. And Chiwa just late coming out. Doesn't want to extend outside the lane.
Oduro's second tray, and a goaltend on Castro. A bucket for R.J. Melendez. Give him 2.
Melendez playing with a lot more energy tonight.
2 for 13 from the field in the previous 2 games for R.J. Melendez. And the double figures now with 10 points in this one. They will look at that again at the next timeout. So for now, it's a 1-point game.
Chiwa comes out of the lineup again, just a defensive mistake there, didn't come out. So Deloach will come back in.
Carter, Oduro's there to flush it back. Oh, the intensity picking up. Thomason for the tie, wide right. Josh Oduro now has a game-high 19 points, doing a little bit of everything. Hopkins, and that's a blocking foul. Oh, Melendez got the wind knocked out of him as Hopkins lowered the shoulder. And Melendez still holding that lower chest, upper stomach area.
Yeah, you don't want to get run over by Bryce Hopkins at 6'7", 220 pounds. But just a little late getting in front of Bryce. Got called for the block foul.
Now Georgia needs Melendez down the stretch as well as he's played this afternoon. Fifth foul on Georgia, and Melendez will sit.
Well, I think because they came out to look at him. He's got to come out for a little bit, but I don't think he'll spend a lot of time there. He's really disappointed because he wanted to stay in the game. You get hit in the ribs like that, though. When you take a deep breath, it's real painful.
Carter, corner pop. Missed everything. And a ball out of bounds, last touched by Georgia. Providence will have it when we return. 55-52, Friars in front. A game-high 19 for Josh Oduro.
Josh Oduro playing exceptionally well inside, also stepping back, knocking down the threes to lead the Friars up by 3 with 7:57 to go here in the second half.
Well, this consolation game has had a championship feel. Providence in front by 3 over Georgia, 55-52, 7:57 left to play. The officials told us they'd review this at the next timeout. That timeout has passed us by, and this was confirmed, a goaltend on Rafael Castro, so Melendez, that bucket will stand, and it stays a 3-point game.
Yeah, I got the block, but it was after the ball had already hit the backboard. So it was a good call, the right call.
Providence will have it. Friars trailed by 2 at the half. They've won this second half 23-18 with a lot of time to go. Corey Floyd Jr. finds his spot, misses the teardrop. The ball batted around and taken by Thomason. Hill races up the floor, puts it in, plus the foul. Justin Hill right over the outstretched arm of Devin Carter, and he'll have a chance to tie it.
Strong move. Carter kind of had the forearm on the body. That's where the foul was committed, but Justin Hill going fast right at him, changed directions, absorbed the contact, got it to go. Hill playing very well this afternoon. Take a look again at that last move. You know, he'd kind of lost some minutes to Silas Demary, the freshman, but tonight's been playing very well.
That rolls off. Providence stays in front by a point. Third foul on Devin Carter. Corey Floyd Jr. also has 3. Ticket Gaines still on the Providence bench with 4 fouls. Oduro a game-high 19 points. And Hopkins whistled for traveling. He didn't think so.
You don't see traveling called much in today's game. I don't know.
Seemed like a very subtle shuffle of the feet, if anything. 13th Providence turnover. Abdur-Rahim for the lead. Short, long rebound to Carter. So explosive on the fast break, and Providence turns it over. Thought Hopkins would camp out in the corner, but instead he cut.
Exactly right. He expected him to run to the three-point line. Instead, Hopkins was going for that pass for the dunk like we'd had earlier in the half.
Man, how fun has this one been? 11 ties, 10 lead changes. 7 minutes left to play.
And that's the thing, these teams, why they come to the Bahamas and play in this tournament, because they know they're going to get good competition in 2 games.
Hill, fadeaway.
Not to mention you get to go to the beach, go down water slides and all kind of stuff.
Gamble a little bit with the NIL money. Oduro's hit 2 threes, passes up on that one. Carter, rainbow. Hopkins on the offensive glass. Carter, no hesitation, he misses again. First one was short, second one was strong. Thomason has the mismatch. Oduro welcoming the challenge. Thomason blows right by him and had it altered at the rim by Castro. Last touched by the Friars. And Oduro asking for a breather with 6:10 left. But instead, Castro is on his way out. Ticket Gaines with his 4 fouls back in. And Kim English will get Josh Oduro a breather as he subs in Rich Barron, the true freshman.
Now, they played a lot like this last year with Hopkins will move to the 5 spot. With the addition of Oduro this year, he's moved more out on the perimeter, 4, sometimes even 3. And now Castro coming in, he still may stay at the 4. But when he is at the 5, Providence is very small.
Castro was already subbed out, and Kim English at this same dead ball is trying to put him back in. And the officials will allow it. Carter, 3 fouls, but has done everything for this Providence team. 14 points, 9 rebounds. He's dished out 5 assists. Chance for the Bulldogs to jump back in front with 6 minutes left. Hill finds Chiwa. Look out below.
Hill, good recognition, stretched that double team, made him come all the way across the court, opened up the opposite side for Chiwa.
A go-ahead flush. Georgia by a point. Hopkins mid-post. Shot clock into single figures. Hopkins watched by Melendez. Barron steps through, feeds Castro, and he powers it down.
Give Barron a lot of credit. That excellent penetration in sight to see his teammate.
Lead change after lead change, and it's Providence by a point. Jabri Abdur-Rahim turns the corner right through the hands of Chiwa. A takeaway for Providence. Here comes Bryce Hopkins, head of steam, has it poked away, recovers. Barron tried to bounce it back, and Hopkins gets there. Friars slow things down as we wind inside of 5 minutes. Hopkins from distance. Deadens off the side of the iron. Russell Chiwa there for Georgia. Hill crosses over, maneuvers around the screen. Teardrop, falls off. Castro clears and throws it away.
Value the basketball, especially late in the contest like this. Every possession is huge.
Thomason crossing blades with Ticket Gaines. Puts the dribble behind his back, maneuvers downhill, flutters it in.
And Georgia just kind of gave him some room, put all 4 other players on the baseline or wings out wide. So no help there.
Teeter-totter, 58-57 Georgia. Thomason's got 18 to lead the Bulldogs. Inside of 4 minutes, and Melendez punches it out. It will stay with Providence on the other side. Buckle your seatbelts. A fantastic finish coming from the Bahamas.
Chia with a strong slam to give Georgia the 1-point lead. Still 3:48. Providence is hanging right there. They also can go to the rim and finish.
Don't miss the conclusion of the Baha Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship. Kansas State battles 12th-ranked Miami for the 2023 title right here on CBS Sports Network. We've got an absolute doozy in the 3rd-place game. Kansas State reached the Elite Eight under Jerome Tang in his first season as the head coach. One of 6 high majors that the Wildcats will see in the pre-Big 12 schedule. Miami fresh off its first ever Final Four appearance, off to a 4-0 start this season.
Very experienced team with 3 starters back. And, next time out, they'll travel to Lexington, Kentucky, playing Rupp Arena.
Well, if this is just the appetizer, that K-State Miami final is going to be like an 8-ounce filet from the Swimming Pig. One of the many fine dining establishments here at Baha Mar Resort. They do have swimming pigs here in the Bahamas. Not on this island, though. Carter is back in. Oduro double teamed out of the timeout. 2 to shoot, and he's fouled with 1 on the shot clock. A bailout and the 6th on the Bulldogs.
You got to be aware of what the shot clock is, even when you're on the defensive end. And that time, on the other hand, though, you don't want to fault the aggressiveness going for that basketball. But Oduro does a good job of keeping the ball moving. Melendez is just a little bit too aggressive. Georgia
head coach Mike White was holding a coffee in his right hand when this game tipped off. I don't think he needs any extra juice for the finish. 3:25 to play in a 1-point game. Carter slashes. Hopkins with 5. Corey Floyd Jr. for the lead. It's good.
Big shot for Providence, obviously, but only 4 of 14 from behind the three-point line.
Thomason bursts and misses. First make from above the three-point line for Corey Floyd Jr. Missed his first 4 attempts. A big shot late in his first career start. 2-point lead for Providence. Carter probing off the side of the glass. He saves it in right to Oduro. Shot clock didn't reset. Corey Floyd Jr. 5 to shoot. Dishes out. Carter, deep 3. Got it.
High arcing 3, too. We have a little lower roof than normally in some of the arenas. That one almost hit the lights.
Timeout, Mike White. A roof scraper from Devin Carter. And Providence has a 5-point lead late.
Welcome back to the Bahamas. Providence up by 5 late. Devin Carter playing a big part. His hustle play, going for the loose ball to keep it alive. And then eventually it'll come back to him. And he shoots a high arcing 3-pointer. Knocks it down to give the Friars that 5-point lead. Still 2:23 to go, so Georgia has some time.
Shooters never stop shooting. Devin Carter missed 9 of his first 11, but stepped into that one with all the confidence. And Providence up 5. They've struck for 6 straight points in the last 54 seconds. Where would you like to see Georgia go out of this timeout?
Well, you don't want to rely on the 3. I mean, there's still plenty of time. You don't have to take a 3 right now. So just run your sets, get good ball movement, good player movement, swing it from side to side and attack the rim. You may draw a foul or you may get an inside-out 3, but Georgia's game really, they need to keep working together, trying to get the best shot available every time down the floor. But then defensively, you got to get a stop. Thomason has been obviously one of the biggest threats.
Justin Hill handling the basketball out of the timeout. Wraparound pass. Melendez, corner pop. Yes, sir!
Yeah, that was a called set, too. They wanted the penetration and look opposite corner. Good to see Melendez shooting with some confidence.
R.J. Melendez opened the season 1 for 10 from deep. But Georgia gets a crunch time make from the junior out of Puerto Rico. Big defensive sequence for the Bulldogs. Pocket pass. Hopkins with a tough take, and he's fouled by Abdur-Rahim.
It was a good offensive set by the Friars, too, leading to Oduro with a backdoor pass to Bryce Hopkins. Good ball movement, good player movement. You see, they work the ball side to side, and when you dribble at the defender, the tendency is to turn and watch the ball. Hopkins recognizing that, cut to the basket.
Bryce Hopkins 1 for 2 at the free throw line in this game, 71% on the year. That was just the 9th Providence free throw attempt. 17 of 24 in the overtime loss against K-State a couple nights ago. 2 big makes.
Still plenty of time for Georgia. Try to get another good offensive set like they had last time down the floor.
Hill dishes. Thomason from deep. It wiggles out. And a foul underneath will keep it here.
You see, that's the difference. If you come down, just pass around the perimeter, take a 3, that's probably going to be a low percentage shot. But they're getting good penetration into the lane, collapsing that defense. So when they kick it opposite, those shooters have plenty of time to get set.
The foul on Oduro, just his 2nd. will be R.J. Melendez.
And Noah Thomason played really well, shot the ball well that first half, 6 of 10, but only 1 of 9 here in the second half. And, you know, I think that's one thing Georgia has to figure out. Who is their go-to player in late game situations? When you've got that many new faces, it just takes some time to kind of figure that out. But nothing better than game situation and learn about that.
Back to a 2-point game. R.J. Melendez, after back-to-back tough outings, has dropped 15 in this one. And the Bulldogs will employ some full-court pressure after the free throw makes. Providence down its 2 best ball handlers. Jaden Pierre out with an injury. Garway Dual serving a suspension after that fight the other night. Carter turns it over, but gets it back.
Oh, Melendez had it, just couldn't get control.
And an issue with the clock here.
Well, I think wanted to see if it should have been a reset, but I don't know if he had possession.
Melendez had it in 2 hands for a split second before Carter ripped it back. And it's the difference between 8 to shoot and what, 30 to shoot? It'd be a fresh shot clock if in fact it was back-to-back turnovers in a few seconds time.
Yes. If possession changed hands, yeah.
So much more becomes reviewable down the stretch of a basketball game, and with 1:12 left.
It's kind of a break, though, for Providence in that if they get the ball back with only 8 now with this timeout where they review, they've got a chance to set up a play. Just
Here's the turnover in question. I don't know if Melendez ever had complete control of the basketball.
Yeah, didn't look like it. It looked like he was going to get possession of it, but somehow went right through his hands.
They are leaving 8 on the shot clock.
So now you run your side out of bounds, 8-second play.
Sam Hyman.
Coach English said in his post-game press conference last night that his team was not disciplined or sound enough down the stretch. Here we are down the stretch once again, guys. And Kim said injuries and other things around us are not an excuse. So right now we'll see the Friars and what they're made of down the stretch.
Duro with the clock winding down. Spins, fades, fires, missed it. Silas Demery Jr., the rebound for Georgia. Inside of a minute, 2-point game.
Yeah, not the shot you want to take there, even though the clock was down. A step back from your big man.
Hill stops and starts. Now Thomason attacks. And it rolls off, but he's fouled with 48.3. And that is the 4th on Devin Carter.
You know, Sam had talked, when he talked to Coach English there at halftime, he talked about we got to figure out a better way to guard Thomason. And, you know, they've really put the stifles on him, kind of throwing him off step, whether it's a double team coming off the 2-man game or making him go to his right.
That barely grazes the front of the iron. First free throw miss of the day for Thomason.
Not that kind of fast. You got 10 seconds there to shoot. Take your time, go through your routine, knock it down.
Makes good on the second. 1-point game. Abdur Rahim returns for Georgia. So Carter and Gaines stay on the floor for Providence with 4 fouls apiece. Kim English takes timeout with 44 ticks left. 1-point game late. Down to the wire in the Bahamas Championship 3rd place game. In between games, coming up next, catch a sit down with Seth Davis and San Diego State head coach Brian Dutcher as they talk the school's first ever Final Four berth on home court right here on CBS Sports Network. 65-64, the Providence Friars trying to leave paradise in the win column. They've got the basketball with 44 seconds left.
Yeah, 26 seconds on the shot clock. So Georgia, the main thing, try to get a stop and do not give up an offensive rebound. You'll still have 18 seconds if the Friars use it all the way down to 0. So need a good defensive possession. And for Providence, just take your time, get a good shot.
Corey Floyd Jr. on a bounce. They post up Hopkins against the double team. And a foul. Perhaps a tad too aggressive on defense. And Hopkins will shoot the 1-and-1.
Justin Hill called for that foul. As he went down to the low post, he never really committed. He had a hand in there just kind of to try to defer Bryce Hopkins from making that move. But you'd almost like to see him go hard double and make Hopkins pass that ball out.
Hopkins, 3 out of 4 from the stripe in this one. Providence, 8 of 10 from the free throw line as a team.
Kansas State game the other night, Providence a big possession late, didn't find the offensive players and gave up a wide open 3 to Paluma. Let's see if they can do a better job defending here with 32.8 after this free throw.
K-State and 12th ranked Miami after this one in the Baha Mar Hoops Bahamas title game. Hopkins delivers 67-64. Justin Hill picks it up, crossing blades with Corey Floyd Jr. Hill shimmies down the baseline, misses the layup. Hopkins clears.
Had a good look.
And Georgia fouls Corey Floyd Jr. with 19.3 to play. A big stop for the Friars.
Well, Justin Hill did a good job turning that corner and used his body to kind of create some space. Let's take a look at a little crossover drill. Watch the contact. Not enough to call a foul, just a little bit too far outside the white square up on the backboard. Had the wrong angle, wouldn't go in.
This is still the 1-and-1 for Providence.
Floyd not made a free throw this year coming into this game. That's a big one there.
He had missed his first 2 attempts of the season. First career start for the redshirt sophomore out of Franklin, New Jersey. Second year at Providence after a redshirt season at UConn. And a couple of clutch free throws to put the Friars up 5. It's Hill into the front court again. 15 seconds left.
Go to the basket.
Thomason settles for a 3. Missed everything. Providence can feel it. Up by 5 with 8.9 left. And Kim English takes timeout. Five-point lead for Providence. The finish on the other side. Well, the Friars have to like their chances, up 5 with 8.9 on the second half clock. They have possession out of the Kim English timeout. Took a tough one on the chin against K-State in overtime on Friday. This would be a nice, resilient win and ease the 1,200-mile trip back to Rhode Island.
Yeah, I mean, you were interested, I'm sure, to see Kim English was how his team would react. And, you know, the mindset, no sympathy, like we talked about in the keys of the game. And they've done a good job. A little sluggish to start, but then they got focused in. Defense intensity picked up and really making the free throws, executing down the stretch.
Friars shooting 45% from the field, plus 11 on the glass. Rebounding has been a struggle for Georgia. They have now been out-rebounded in all 5 games this season.
Friars with 4 players in double figures, led by Oduro with 19, Carter with 17, Hopkins 16, and Floyd with 11.
Corey Floyd Jr. baseball pass. Carter catches and lays it in.
That was his strength there because he got fouled. Hill tried to foul him, I think, on the drive.
19 for Carter. Thomason raises, missed off the heel, and Providence wins it. They will take home 3rd place in the Bahamas Championship, 71-64. The Friars down the Bulldogs.
Good game. I think both teams will really learn a lot from this contest, so you got to be happy, even though Georgia obviously would have liked to come out with a win.
Providence opens the Kim English era 4-1. For Sam Hyman, Kyle Macy, and our entire crew, I'm Chris Sylvester. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network. Stay with us. 30 minutes from now, it's the Bahamas Championship game, K-State and number 12 Miami. Up next, it's home court with Brian Dutcher. So long from Baha Mar. In the Bahamas, Providence wins it.